Hello, everybody. This is Barney Strom, and welcome to my YouTube channel for today's Field of Dreams broadcast. Mark from Beantown checks in. Beantown is a couple of games out of contention for the third playoff spot in the No More Tears division. Mark, thank you for being the first one in. Anyway, we're going to try to finish the month of July today. The framework would be, or the timeline, finish July today. That will give us all day Friday for any uh, trading that would occur for the trade deadline, which is August 1st. Then Steve would put together an updated file on Saturday for Field of Dreams. Someone, either Steve or Clue, will sim the month of August, which we always do. And by Sunday or Monday, we can start the playoff drive in the month of September, which is always very exciting. On the screen in front of you, you see the current standings. Manchester leading the Suck It Up division in quite a battle with the Washington Clowns. Lehigh in third place, followed by Big Clue, who's 9 games out in fourth, just out of the playoff spot. No More Tears shows David Lando, Real Chicago in first place by quite a margin, 10.5 games over Chicago. The surprising Lancaster team, 11 games out. Carolina only one back of Lancaster. They're 12 games out. Union Stewards, which I'll never understand, Union Stewards always got the highest payroll, the best, highest payroll, and the best roster in the league. They just play possum, I guess, during the regular season and come on at the end. They're a game and a half out of the playoff spot, probably too far back, 12 and a half back. But I remember, I think it was last season when I led Union Stewards all the way. He was 12 and a half back at one point, and he caught me with 2 weeks to go and passed me and won the division. And maybe Mike's going to do that again this year. I have no idea what's with his team during the regular season, but September he usually starts to play. Anyway, let's get over to the schedule and start up some games here. July 13th, Carolina at Beantown. We'll autoplay the first couple of days, then we'll pick a game to play. I usually have 2 games in my voice, so we'll play a couple of games. We'll see who checks in. Beantown at home against Carolina, fighting for that playoff spot. And I just remembered something. So if you guys will hold on 1 second, I need to do something, and you can watch me do it on the screen. Whoops, wrong one. Okay, hold on. Desktop. I need to get on Discord here. Before I play any more games, there was at least one manager file that was uploaded, and it was Mark's. So here you go. I did play one game without it, but I'm going to download it now, and we will get that corrected. There it is, Beantown, you're in, and I only screwed up one of your games. Did you win? I didn't even bother to look. You lost. I hope that wasn't one that I screwed up for you. Sorry about that. Anyway, Chicago at the Real Chicago. 4-3 Real goes to 11.5 ahead of the two teams behind them. Lehigh at Washington. Lehigh 6-5. Lehigh now 6 games back. Union Stewards at Philadelphia. Union Stewards coming on 6-2 winners. San Francisco at Manchester. Manchester 9-3 winners. Lancaster and Edmonton. Edmonton beats Lancaster. Lancaster drops to 12 games back. Crystal Lake, who is in a slump lately, at Gary, and they win 3-1. St. Louis, who's trying to get into the playoff spot, at Vegas. Vegas 4-2 winner. We move to the 14th. MV and Slash check in. Okay. MV's here. We just saw you. Let's play a game. San Francisco, well, let's see. We'll have a better game for you. Let's autoplay this one. 9-2 again. Manchester beats San Francisco. Lancaster loses again, 7-6. They drop to 12.5 back, puts Carolina in the playoff spot. Speaking of Carolina, here you go, Beantown, with your up-to-date manager file. 2-1. I'm glad I got it in there. You win 2-1. Crystal Lake again at Gary, 4-2. 2 games in a row for Crystal Lake. Lehigh at Washington, 5-2. Washington continues to lose. Lehigh continues to win. Union Stewards loses to Philadelphia 12-7. Will Chicago be 12 games ahead here in a minute? Excuse me, Real Chicago. No, Chicago beats Real Chicago 7-5. They're only 10.5. And St. Louis, 4 games behind Lehigh for that last playoff spot. And they defeat Vegas 12-1. Here we go, on to the 15th, halfway through the month. Let's see who's playing today. We'll autoplay today again. 7-4, Lehigh 3 straight over Washington. Washington is now in a tie in the loss column with Lehigh. Union Stewards, 11-5 winners. Manchester, 11-4 winners. Manchester 3.5 games up, widening their lead over Washington, who's losing. Edmonton beats Lancaster again. Lancaster diving down the standings. They're now 5th. Union Stewards pulls ahead of them into 4th. Beantown at home against Carolina, 6-5 winners. Crystal Lake at Gary. Crystal Lake wins again. I think that's a 4-game winning streak for Crystal Lake. Puts them 1 game above 500. Chicago at Real. Chicago 10-3. Chicago wins. And David's lead cut to 9.5. St. Louis at Vegas, and Vegas squeaks by in 10 innings, 4-3. St. Louis drops 4.5 games behind the Lizards. St. Louis at Washington, that's a possibility. Crystal Lake at Manchester, that's a possibility. Union Stewards at Beantown. 12-11 slugfest, won by Union Stewards. San Francisco at Gary, 2 losing teams, 8-0 San Francisco. Carolina at Philadelphia. Philly has those big bats. I believe they lead the league in hitting. They beat Carolina 12-6. Lancaster at Real Chicago, 4-1. Real Chicago wins. Lehigh, first game of a doubleheader at Vegas. Vegas beats Lehigh 10-9. Soto, which Lehigh just got from Manchester, 2 for 2 with a home run and 4 RBIs. St. Louis at Washington, second game I played. St. Louis won. So I guess we'll play the first one afterwards. 8-6 St. Louis. 6 Crystal Lake at Manchester. Their doubleheader. Well, let's not play that by mistake. There's doubleheaders all over the place here. Beantown, 10-4 winners. They split their doubleheader. San Francisco at Gary. San Francisco won the first game. Gary wins the second, 10-1. Lancaster and Real. Chicago wins the first game. They sweep 15-2. Lancaster continues their free fall in the division. Chicago back to 10.5 games ahead. And the second game, Lehigh and Vegas. Lehigh splits the doubleheader. They win 9-3. Okay. Who do we have here? We've got MV. MV was the last one to check in. Let's do MV. So we'll autoplay this first game. St. Louis defeats Washington 3-2. So they ended up sweeping their doubleheader. And let's play Crystal Lake at Manchester. Both these owners are here. Jim Palmer, we saw him the other day in a game I did. Facing Mel Parnell, the lineups are in. We're here at Ebbets Field, home of the Manchester Red Bulls. Mel Parnell, 9-2, will be facing Jim Palmer, 6-8. It is a sunny day. It's beautiful, 76 degrees. Batting order for Crystal Lake has Henderson in center, Benzinger in DH, Bonds in left, Cy Williams. No, that's Matt Williams. I keep getting those confused. At third, Jimmy Fox at first, Judge in right, Sand at shortstop, Wilson the catcher, Benjamin at second, Palmer on the mound. Outfield for the Red Bulls, Ott in left, Ashburn in center, Ramirez in right, Roland Bell, Robinson, Gehrig in the infield, Slot doing the catching. Mel Parnell on the mound. We're going to be underway because in steps Henderson. Henderson to right field. Ramirez is going to watch it, and it is out of here. A leadoff home run for Crystal Lake. Ricky Henderson takes a Parnell fastball and plants it 305 feet away over the right field fence. It's 1-0. Parnell registers a strikeout. Bonds into right field. Ramirez backing up, and he's got it for the out. Matt Williams on the ground in the left field, base hit. Second hit of the inning. Jimmy Fox. Fox on the ground. It's going to be past Bell into left field. Williams on his way to third. Fox on first. It's first and third. Parnell in a little bit of a jam here in the top of the first inning. Aaron Judge. There goes Fox. He's safe. Stolen base number 7. 2 runners in scoring position. Crystal Lake trying to get off to an early lead. Judge on the ground. Up the middle, Jackie Robinson the first. Inning over. Parnell squeaks out of that mess, only allowing a run. We head to the bottom of the first. Crystal Lake won. Red Bulls coming to bat. Lineup for Manchester will have Robinson second leading off. Ashburn batting second in center. Votto the DH hitting third. Gehrig hitting cleanup at first. Ramirez hitting fifth and right. Slot catching sixth. Bell at short seventh. Roland at third, eighth. Mel Ott hitting ninth. I hope he's not too insulted, but he's playing left field and hitting ninth. Bonds, Henderson, Judge in the outfield. Williams, Sand, Benjamin, Fox in the infield. Wilson catching. Palmer pitching. Jackie Robinson steps in. Ground ball to Sand. One away. Ashburn up the middle. Benjamin to first. Two away. Dwayne March checks in. Hey, Dwayne. Votto on the ground to Jimmy Fox. Takes it to the bag. 1, 2, 3, go the Bolts. Top of the second. 1-0, Crystal Lake. Sand, Wilson, and Benjamin up. Ott puts it away. Deep in the left field. Ott's going to watch this one. It's in the stands. It's the second home run of the game for Crystal Lake. Jimmy Wilson, home run number 1, traveled 359 feet. 2 home runs given up by Parnell so far. Benjamin on the ground. Gehrig unassisted. Ricky Henderson led the game off with a homer. Fly to right. Manny's got it for the out. Head to the bottom of the second. It's 2-0 Crystal Lake. Palmer to face. Gehrig, Ramirez, and slot. Henderson's got it for the out. Benjamin to first base. 2 away. And there's a base hit in the left field. Slot on first. We found out the last Manchester game we did, Slot hits .478 against left-handers, and he won that game with a grand slam home run. Slot should be hitting against lefties, but you just saw him hit against a righty. Bell, the Fox at first, steps on the bag. Inning over, we head to the third, 2-0 Crystal Lake. Benzinger, Bonds, and Williams. Ashburn's got it deep in the right center field. 1 down. Bonds in the right field, base hit. Poor play by the second baseman or the first baseman. Let's find out. Jackie Robinson's made the poor play. Matt Williams down the line and left. It's twisting. Foul. Matt Williams line drive. Roland's got it. Fox in the left field for a base hit. Bonds on second. Fox on first. 6 hits already. We're just in the third inning for Crystal Lake. Aaron Judge up. Left field, Ott has it. Inning over. Bottom of the third we go. 2-0 Crystal Lake. Roland, Ott, and Frank Robinson. Left field, Bonds has it for the out. Ott up the middle, base hit, Mel Ott. Take that for batting me ninth, MV. Jackie Robinson. Deep in the left field. Bonds is just watching this one. Robinson puts it in the stands. Home run number 7 for Jackie Robinson, and we're all tied at 2. Home run number 7. Tied at 2. Jim Palmer gives up the slam. Ashburn strikes out, throws. No, it's a bunt, and he's thrown out at first. Looked like a strikeout for a moment. Votto. Base hit into center field. Manchester making a comeback here in the third inning, 2-2 score. Runner on first, 2 outs. Lou Gehrig. He's going to hit it to Benjamin. Throws to Fox for the out. We head to the fourth, all tied at 2. Bottom third of Crystal Lake's order, Sand, and leads off. Wilson on deck. Fly to right. Ramirez got it. Wilson to center field. 2 quick outs. Mike Benjamin up. Pops it up in the infield. No, the left fielder is going to come in and get it. I thought Bell was going to go out and get it in the grass, but the inning's over. Head to the bottom of the fourth, tied at 2. Palmer facing Ramirez, Slot, and Bell here in the bottom of the fourth. 1-2 count, bounces in the dirt, swing and miss. The ball gets past Wilson. Ramirez gets to first base on a strikeout. Don Slot. There's a wild pitch. Well, you can't get sloppier than that. Dropping the third strike and then throwing a wild pitch puts a runner on second with nobody out. Slot goes down on strikes. Bell on the ground. Sand has it. He boots it. This is not a good inning for Crystal Lake's defense. Ever number 7 on Sand. Runners on first and third. 1 out. Scott Rowland up. Rowland on the ground to Williams. Williams second for 1 over to first. And they get out of the mess with a 5-4-3 double play. We head to the fifth. We're tied at 2. Ricky Henderson's up again. Homered to lead off the game. On the ground of Rowland. Going to have to be quick to get him. He gets him. Todd Benzinger. Second strikeout for Parnell. Barry Bonds to right. Ramirez puts it away. Easy inning. We're halfway home after 4.5. It's tied at 2. Here we go. Palmer to face. Ott hitting 9th. It's surprised me and Mel Ott. Robinson and Ashburn. Ott's got a hit today. Third strikeout for Palmer. Robinson back up the middle. Sand. Can't get it there in time. The speedy, fleet-footed Jackie Robinson beats it out for a hit. Richie Ashburn also speedy, but he walks. 2 quick runners on. 1 away. 2 all the score. Here's the pitch. Votto takes a walk, and the bases are loaded. Jim Palmer's got a little wildness in there. Second walk for Palmer. If you're going to load the bases, doing it in front of Gehrig is probably not a good idea. Fly ball in his deep center field. Henderson. He's got it. Robinson tags. No throw. He scores, and Manchester leads 3-2. Manny Ramirez. Ground ball up the middle. Sand to second for 1. That's all they're going to need. We go to the top of the 6th. It is Red Bolts 3, Crystal Lake 2. Matt Williams. Deep in the right center field, Ashburn tracks it down. Jimmy Fox. Line drive. Roland's got it. Let me speed that ball up a bit. I changed from 3/4 screen to full screen. And I think it slowed me down a little bit. Aaron Judge. Ground ball to Roland. Got him by a step. We head to the bottom of the 6th. It's 3-2 Red Bolts. Red Bolts will send up Slot, Bell, and Roland. Base hit into right. Yeah, that's all it was. When I went from 3/4 screen to full screen, it slowed up the flight of the ball. J. Bell, runner on first. In the right field, base hit, runners on first and second for the Red Bolts. Palmer at 90 pitches. Nobody out for Scott Rowland. Rowland's in the left field for a base hit. He's going to hold. The bases are loaded. 3 runners on. Mellott. Well, maybe MV knew more than I did. He knew Mellott was going to come up with the bases loaded. The pitch. Strikeout number 4. Palmer rubbing up the baseball, facing Jackie Robinson. Tough guy to double up. But if they can double him up, they can get out of the inning. Fly ball to center field. That should score another run. Henderson coming in to get it. Slot is going to tag the throw. He's out at the plate. He is thrown out at the plate for a double play. And just like that, Crystal Lake gets out of the inning. We go to the top of the 7th. It is 3-2 Red Bolts. Great throw by Ricky Henderson. When I saw Slot on third and I saw Henderson coming in, and knowing Slot is not a fast runner, I knew there was going to be a play at the plate, and there was. Parnell, who gave up a couple of home runs early, now takes a 3-2 lead into the 7th inning. Sands is up. Jackie Robinson to Gehrig for the out. Wilson up the middle, base hit. Jimmy Wilson singles, Benjamin up. He's going to hit that on the ground, a roll, and it's going to throw to second for 1, over to first. They double up Benjamin. We're on to the bottom of the 7th. Red Bolts, 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors, 7 left on. Crystal Lake, 2 runs, 7 hits, 1 error, 4 left on. We've got a great game going here. Jim Palmer to face Ashburn, Votto, and Gehrig here in the bottom of the 7th. Line drive, base hit in the left field. Richie Ashburn on first. A threat to steal, Votto up. Throw to first. Palmer heard me. Votto in the center. Ashburn returns to first. 1 down. Lou Gehrig. In the deep center field, Henderson's tracked it down. 2 away. Back to first goes Ashburn. Manny Ramirez facing Palmer. He's going to hit it in the right field. That's going to be a base hit. Judge traps it. On the third goes Ashburn. It is first and third, 2 outs. Red Bolt's looking for an insurance run. Don Slott gets the sign. And it's a base hit in the right field. There's one insurance run. On his way to third is Manny Ramirez. It is 4-2 here in the bottom of the 7th. Jay Bell looking to bring in another. Walks. Bases loaded. Bottom of the 7th. Already a run in. MV looking to put this game away. Rolling up. And it's deep into left field. Bonds can only watch that go into the left center field stands. A grand slam home run for Roland. And this game is broken open. It's 8-2. The only negative about the pitching AI is that you can't take him out when he's in trouble unless he's allowed the number of runs you want him out at. And Palmer will probably come out here now, but it's going to be one batter too late. Kevin Rogers in the pitch. Mellott in the center field. Henderson's got it. 8-2 Red Bolts. We head to the top of the 8th. Parnell to face the top of the order. Ricky Henderson. Roland's got it. Henderson is out. Benzinger walks. Crystal Lake's got their work cut out for him. Barry Bonds. Base in the left field. Well, this is how it gets started. You put runners on. Matt Williams up against Parnell. Parnell has got a base hit in the left field. It's a poor play, but I think Benzinger is going to hold. He is. Bases loaded. Jimmy Fox. Well, can't call this play. You might as well just watch. Base hit in the right field. 1 run in. This is where you'd want to take Mel Parnell out if you were the managing in live and in person. But you got to leave him in. Aaron Judge up. Deep in the left field. And you guessed it. It's off the wall. I thought it was going to be in the stands. 2 runners score. Double for Aaron Judge. And Crystal Lake's back in the game. Scored 3 runs here in the top of the 8th so far. It is 8-5 Red Bolts. Quite a game. I don't know what the magic number to get Parnell out of there is, but if I was MV, I was hoping it'd be 5. And there it is. Mark Dewey coming in. Heine Sand 0 for 3. He hits it up the middle. Bell's going to throw to Gehrig, get the out. It's going to score Fox, however. It is now 8-6, 2 outs. Tying runners at the plate. Who would have thought I would say that? Jimmy Wilson. Okay, error number 3. Got to read this. Wilson struck out. Catcher interference. Okay, runners on first and third. Mike Benjamin. The AI should pinch hit here, but I don't think it's going to. It is. Smart AI. Darren Lewis. Slow roller to short. Lewis is a fast guy. Will they get him? He's out. They get him by a half a step to end the inning. MV saves himself another run, And as we head to the bottom of the eighth, it's 8-6 Red Bulls. Close play at first. And we'll be right back here in the bottom of the eighth in one moment. Okay, we're back here at Abbott's Field. Top of the order, Robinson, Ashburn, Votto looking to get some insurance runs off of Rogers. Not what he wanted to do. Robinson goes to first on a hit batsman, Richie Ashburn. There goes Robinson. He's safe. Stolen base number 18. Runner in scoring position. Walk for Ashburn, and just like that, Rogers is in trouble. Runners on first and second. Nobody out for Joey Votto. Pitching change. Kloss coming in. Kloss walks Votto, and we have the bases loaded. Well, Gehrig has a grand slam on the season. And Crystal Lake, who had fought all the way back to 8-6, is now in trouble. Infield fly rule, one away. Manny Ramirez, he can hit in a double play. He's not so fleet of foot, but he can also hit a grand slam home run. He can also strike out. 2 outs, bases still loaded. And Kloss strikes out 2 clutch batters as MV does not score any insurance runs. We head to the ninth, 8-6 Red Bulls. Dewey to face the top of the order, Henderson, Benzinger, and Bonds. Way back in the first inning, Henderson led off with a home run. He walks. Brings the tying run to the plate. Benzinger throw to first. Henderson gets back. Benzinger in the center field. Ashburn coming in to get it for the out. Henderson retreats. Barry Bonds. I've seen them intentionally walk Barry Bonds in spots like this. Let's see what they do. Throw to first. Henderson back. Bonds deep in the right field. Ramirez has it at the fence. 2 outs for the Red Bulls. I thought Bonds had put it into the stands. So did MV, I bet. 2 outs. Top of the ninth. 8-6 Red Bull lead. Tying run at the plate. Matt Williams up. Dewey throws to first. There goes all the tension. Let's do it again. Top of the ninth. 2 outs. Tying run at the plate. Matt Williams. Here's Dewey's pitch. Left field. Mellott catches it. Game is over. Red Bulls win. 8 runs, 12 hits, 1 error, 10 left on for the Red Bulls. 6-11-1, 7 runners left on for Crystal Lake. And that was a good game. Let's go to the box score. Standout hitters for Crystal Lake. Williams 2 for 5, excuse me. 3 for 4 is Jimmy Fox, 2 for 3. Catcher Jimmy Wilson. For Manchester, Jackie Robinson, 2 for 4. 3 for 5, Don Slott. 2 for 4, Scott Rowland. Winning pitcher, Mel Parnell. He's now 10-2, 7 1/3, 11 hits, 6 runs. Not a stellar performance, but he gets the win. 2 strikeouts, a walk. Losing pitcher Palmer, he goes 6 2/3. Also not a stellar performance. 12 hits, 8 runs, all earned. Struck out 4. And walk 3. The save goes to Dewey. And that's the game. We are on the 16th. We're going to do some simming now. I want to make sure these games are all done. We're going to do Crystal Lake and Manchester, game 2. Manchester sweeps the doubleheader with the same exact 8-6 scores. On to the 17th. Steve Tate checks in. 17th, Union Stewards at Beantown. 16-4, Union Stewards. They move in to third place in the last and final playoff spot. No more tears. San Francisco 8-6 over Gary. St. Louis at Washington, 3-2 St. Louis. Let's take a look down there. St. Louis, 3 games behind Lehigh. Washington now is 6 games behind Manchester and look like they're heading in the wrong direction. Philadelphia at home against Carolina. Carolina wins 9-1. They remain 1 game out of a playoff spot. Crystal Lake and Manchester, 4-2. Manchester 3 in a row now over Crystal Lake. Crystal Lake drops to 15 games back. Manchester 6.5 game lead. Chicago 10.5 out, and they win 2-1 over Edmonton. Lancaster 14 out. They're falling rapidly. Real Chicago loses to them, however, 8-3. And Lehigh at Vegas. Vegas wins 6-5. Ben's over Hubble. We move to the 18th. St. Louis at Manchester. 10-8 St. Louis. St. Louis trying desperately to take that third spot. Chicago at Edmonton. Oh, as I noticed, I got in too late to put the logos in, which I have to do when I download a new file. Edmonton 9-6 over Chicago. They're now 10 out. Union Stewards holding a game lead in the third and final playoff spot. Beantown beats them 7-5. And Beantown trying to crawl a little closer. Lancaster at Real Chicago, 1-0. Real Chicago continues their 10-game lead in first place. Crystal Lake at Washington. Washington wins 3-2. Crystal Lake continues their free fall in the division. Carolina at Philadelphia, 14-0. Carolina holding on to, well, they're tied with Union Stewards. They look like they're slightly ahead of them by percentage points. Lehigh at last place, Gary, 7-4 Lehigh. And San Francisco moves into Vegas and defeats them 7-4. We go to the 19th. St. Louis and Manchester. As we glance down, Manchester leads by 5.5. St. Louis beats them 3-1. They now lead by 5. Lancaster at Beantown. Lancaster wins. That doesn't help either, Lancaster and Beantown. Well, Lancaster a little bit. They're a game out of the playoff spot. Lehigh at Gary. Lehigh wins 3-2. Cy Young with his 11th victory. Union Stewards over Real Chicago, 5-0. Union Stewards. They're now a half game up on Carolina in that final playoff spot. St. Louis at Manchester, game number 2. St. Louis sweeps them 6-1. Manchester now drops to 4.5 ahead of Washington. And St. Louis closes to within 2 games of Lehigh. Crystal Lake loses to Washington 4-3. Chicago at Philadelphia. Chicago wins 6-4, 9.5 out. Carolina needing a win over Edmonton. They don't get it, Edmonton, and Tessero beat them 5-1. And San Francisco and Vegas in the Who Cares Who Wins Bowl. Vegas, Robin Roberts shuts out San Francisco 1-0. On to the 20th. Lancaster at Beantown. Beantown 5-4. Let's check on Beantown. 15 there. Got 46 losses. There are only 2 losses behind Union Stewards. They're still in it. Lehigh at Gary, 7-4. Gary upsets Lehigh. That gives St. Louis a chance to get a little closer. Union Stewards at Real Chicago. Union Stewards now a game and a half up in the third place race. Real Chicago drops to 9 ahead. I don't think that's a problem. Crystal Lake 10-1 winners over Chicago over Washington as they keep their free-for-all drop. Both Washington and Crystal Lake are dropping, but in this case, Crystal Lake wins and Washington loses. Chicago at Philadelphia. Chicago seems to be doing really well. They're only 8.5 back. I don't know. David, you better keep an eye on them. They win 5-4. Carolina needs a win. They get it 3-1. Carolina now 1 game behind Union Stewards. And the who cares who wins game, San Francisco loses to Vegas 6-2. We move to the 21st. Will Carolina get another win? They do, 14-1. Carolina now slips into 5th place. Lancaster at Beantown. Beantown looking for a win. They don't get it. Lancaster does. Lancaster 2 games out. Beantown. Well, Beantown is 3 games out in the loss column. I prefer to look at it this way. San Francisco leaves Vegas, goes to Washington. Washington beats them 14-4 to stay in 2nd place, 4 games back. Chicago, will they win again? No. Philadelphia upsets them 6-4. Lehigh at Manchester. 6-1 Lehigh, Manchester. Lead down to 3.5. Will St. Louis keep up? They do, 6-0 over Gary. Union Stewards looking for a win over Real Chicago. They get it. They're now 9.5. The Chicago, the guy that came in to steal the city, 8.5 behind Real Chicago. And Crystal Lake at Vegas. 6-5 Vegas over Crystal Lake. Why am I winning? I don't understand it. We head to the 22nd. I think who do we have at the end of the month? No games on the 31st. On the 30th. Washington, St. Louis looks good. I haven't played a David Landau game in a while. Probably on the 29th we'll play that game. We are done with the 21st. On the 22nd, Manchester 4-0 over Lehigh. Union Stewards continues to win 7-2 over Edmonton. Chicago looking for a win over Beantown, but they don't get it. Beantown stays alive 10-6. St. Louis at Gary 4-2. St. Louis. St. Louis is now a half game behind Lehigh. Carolina looking for a win. They don't get it. Real Chicago beats them 5-4, maintain now a 9.5 game lead. Although Carolina is got 44 losses, all teams that are in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th tied with 44 losses. Crystal Lake at Vegas. Vegas wins 5-3. Have no idea what this winning streak is all about. Washington at home loses to San Francisco. Let's see what that does to the suck it up division. Washington 4.5. Lehigh 6.5 back. St. Louis 7. And Lancaster, where's Lancaster? They're only a game behind in the loss column. They need a win. They get it. Here we are on the 23rd. San Francisco loses to Washington 10-2. Washington 4 back. Lancaster looking for a win. They get it 9-6. Lehigh at Manchester 3-2 Lehigh. MV 3.5 ahead, 5.5 ahead of Lehigh, and only 6.5 against St. Louis. We're going to hit August, and that's going to be a close race. Union Stewards looking to catch a half a game. They do, 3-1 over Edmonton. Chicago looking to get that half game also. Beantown needs a win. Chicago gets it 15-4. St. Louis at Gary. St. Louis keeps pace 4-2. They're closing in on MV. Carolina at Real Chicago. 6-4 Carolina. Carolina now in the middle of that fight. Crystal Lake at Vegas. 6-1. Crystal Lake wins. Hard to beat Greg Maddox. On to the 24th, a limited 3 games. Will Union Steward win? They do, 9-3. Union Stewards now 8 games back. Chicago at Beantown, both teams need a win. Chicago gets it 15-6. And Crystal Lake at Vegas, 11-2 Crystal Lake. Crystal Lake rights the ship. On to the 25th. To Chicago. Chicago hosting Edmonton. Edmonton upsets them 5-4. Manchester at St. Louis. How many games do we have here? 3-game series. Okay. St. Louis looking to cut their 6-game lead. We're on the 25th. Here we go. 5-3 St. Louis. St. Louis now 5 back along with Lehigh. Vandermeer 6-1. That was a recent trade of Clues. Could never count Clue out. Him and David can really trade their way into a pennant. Beantown at Union Stewards. Union Stewards continues to close the gap. They're now only 7.5 back, and I know how David feels because this is what Union Stewards did to me last year. Gary on the road at Lehigh. Gary upsets Lehigh, and that puts St. Louis in the 3rd playoff spot, kicks Lehigh in the number 4. Vegas at San Francisco, a who cares game again. San Francisco wins 4-3. Washington at Crystal Lake. Washington holds their own now, only 2.5 behind Manchester. David looking for a win against Lancaster, gets it 8-3. And Philadelphia at Carolina. Carolina 6-4 winners. Let's take a glance down here before we hit the 26th. Manchester only 2.5 up over Washington, who's holding their own. They're not disappearing. St. Louis and Lehigh, both about 5 games back. Real Chicago, only 8 games back. As much as Union Stewards in Chicago has been winning, David's keeping pace. We're headed to the 29th. We'll play one more game, and then we'll be done on the 30th. Chicago looking for a win. They don't get it. Edmonton upsets them 2-1. Lehigh 9-6 over Gary. Washington at Crystal Lake 7-1. That should close the gap to 2 games. Carolina wanting to win. They lose to Philadelphia 3-2. St. Louis, Manchester. This is an important game. 3-1 St. Louis. St. Louis is now 2 in a row. They got 1 more game. They're only 4 back. Washington 1.5 back. That is going to be a race. Union Stewards looking for a win. They get it 5-3. Only 7.5 back there. There's going to be some races in August. Vegas at San Francisco. They lose to San Francisco. I lose to San Francisco 6-2. I'm pretty much stuck in 6th place. Could go to 7th. There's a battle for 6th and 7th. That's an exciting battle. Real Chicago loses to Lancaster. Lancaster still fighting for that final playoff spot. But the story behind this game is Real Chicago loses and their lead goes to 7 games. 27th, third game for St. Louis at home against Manchester. And Manchester ekes out a win, 6-5 Apier over Harder. And that slows St. Louis's momentum and also kicks them out of third place. Beantown at Union Stewards. Union Stewards continues their rocket ship to the first place spot, 5-4. They're now only 6.5 behind. I don't know. They got a good team. Number 1 payroll in the league. Gary at Lehigh. Lehigh wins, separates himself by a couple of games over St. Louis. Vegas at San Francisco. San Francisco, I think that's 3 in a row. And that ought to kick me into 7th place. It does. Washington at Crystal Lake. Washington 6-2. They are now back to a game and a half out of first. And Carolina looking for the win, but they don't get it. Philadelphia upsets them. Here we are on the 28th. Just want to make sure that we're going to do this Real Union Stewards game on the 29th. Okay. On the 28th, Chicago looking to keep pace. They do and defeat Philly 6-2. St. Louis is now facing Washington. Washington wins 8-5. St. Louis's winning streak has been delayed. Washington now only 1 game back. In an important game here, Union Stewards in 11 innings, 2-1 winners. They're now 5.5 back, and they've cut that lead in half in that division in the month of July. Lehigh at home against Vegas. Lehigh wins 5-4. Gary facing San Francisco, 4-3 Gary. Manchester desperately needing a win. They don't get it. Crystal Lake defeats them 9-3. And Washington finds themselves a half game back. Lehigh 3.5 back. St. Louis 5. Lancaster needing a win. They get it 4-3. Lancaster is tied in the loss column for the third and final playoff spot. Carolina looking to stay tied in the loss column facing Beantown, and they win 4-3. Beantown is falling back a little bit. It looks like that third spot is between Union Stewart, Chicago, Carolina, and Lancaster. And we go to the 29th. We're going to play a game here, but not before Washington at St. Louis. 6-1 Washington, and they're tied for first place. Let's play Real Chicago at Union Stewards. Fernando Valenzuela facing Sandy Koufax. We have a battle of esteemed left-handers. Sandy Koufax, 12-5, with a somewhat inflated 4.44 ERA, facing Fernando, 7-8, 3.69. It's sunny out, and it's 78 degrees. We do not have it's a Michael Silva game, but we don't have a Michael Silva park. Let me move one thing here that's driving me nuts. I'm not going to change it to a Michael Silva park. I'm sorry, Mike. We're going to have to use this fuzzy picture of a Yankee Stadium. Here we go. Batting order for Real Chicago. Andy High at third base, leading off. McCovey, the DH, second. Bagwell hitting third at first. Murphy in left hitting fourth. Edmonds in center field. He is hitting fifth. Biggio sixth. At second, Justice in right field. Seventh, O'Farrell catching eighth, and Smith shortstop and hitting ninth. Very interesting. This was David's home park last season. He's moved. In the outfield, Keller, Cobb, and Columbine for Union Stewards. Jones, Ripken, Gordon, Murray in the infield. Dickey catching. Koufax pitching. Stepping in, Andy High. Here we go. Base hit to right field. Willie McCovey. Bagwell. Base hit in the left field. And the first three runners get on. High scores. Over the third go McCovey, and Sandy Koufax doesn't look too good yet today. Strikes out Murphy. Maybe he's warmed up now. Edmonds. It looks like he might be warmed up now. Biggio to right. Columbine with the out. Koufax settles down, only allows the one run. We head to the bottom of the first. Real, Chicago 1. Baseball club, that's Union Stewards, coming to bat. Batting order for Union Stewards: Hornsby, Jones, Murray, Gordon, Dickey, Keller, Cobb, Ripken, and Columbine 1 through 9. In the outfield, Murphy, Edmonds, Justice left to right in the outfield. High, Smith, Biggio, Bagwell in the infield, left to right. O'Farrell catching. Valenzuela pitching. Hornsby steps in and immediately lines out to begin the bottom of the first. Chipper Jones, great play by Ozzie Smith. It's always an out. Eddie Murray. Another great play by this infield. And 1, 2, 3 goes Union Stewards. We head to the top of the second. Justice. Murray puts it away. O'Farrell walks. Ozzie Smith walks. Koufax a little wild today, facing Andy High, who led off the inning. I guess you can change it till he's a lot wild. Bases loaded, Willie McCovey walks in a run. 3 in a row. 2-0. Bases still full of walks. Bagwell in the right field, base hit. 1 run's going to score. It's now a 3-0 Real Chicago. Murphy up. Ground ball. The Chipper Jones going to throw to second for 1. That's all they're going to get. Another run scores. It's 4-0. Runners on first and third. 2 away for Koufax. Edmonds in the right. Columbine's got it. Inning over, but not before Real Chicago scores 3 times. It's 4-0 going to the bottom of the second. David trying to slow up Mike Silver's team. Joe Gordon in the left field, base hit. Bill Dickey. 2 in a row, left field. That's a base hit. Charlie Keller on the ground to third. Andy High to second for 1. That's all they get that way. Force play at second. 1 out. First and third. Ty Cobb was going to immediately slap that one in a right field, base hit. Run scores. Cal Ripken Jr. strikes out. 2 away for Columbine. Columbine in the left field, base hit. That should score a run. Keller scores. Cobb holds at second. It is 4-2. Hornsby up. Slow roller to short. Ozzie Smith's going to have to hurry. He's not going to beat him. Hornsby beats the throw, and now we've got bases loaded for Chipper Jones. Jones in the right field. Base hit. 1 run scores. 2 runs score. And just like that, we have a tie game. It's 4-4. Eddie Murray up, runners on first and second, and that is the second strikeout, and the inning is over. Not before Union Stewards gets 4 runs, and we move to the third. It's tied at 4. Koufax to face, Biggio, Justice, and O'Farrell. Ripken backhands it. Good play. Biggio's out. Justice is going to put that one in the seats. And Union Stewards didn't have it tied for long as Real Chicago scores for the 5th time. Sandy Koufax, not one of his better performances. O'Farrell walks Sandy Koufax. How many is that? 7? 6. Runner on first. 1 out for Ozzie Smith. Third strikeout. Andy High up. Base hit in the right center field. That's going to be a double. McCovey up. 2 runners on in scoring position. Grounded to Joe Gordon. That will end the inning. Not before Real Chicago gets a run and takes a 5-4 lead. Bottom of the third we go. Fernando facing Joe Gordon. Hits it a mile high. Shortstop's got it for the out. Bill Dickey. Fernando shows a little wildness. That was his first walk, however. Keller up. He hits the ball on the ground high. He's going to throw to first, but Keller's going to be out by a half a step. I thought he was going to beat it out, but he is out. 2 away. Runner on second for Ty Cobb. That one's deep, and that's off the wall. Ty Cobb is going to double. He's 2 for 2. He's come. He's gotten up with runners in scoring position both times today, and he's knocked it a run. He's tied the game up at 5 for Cal Ripken Jr. And Biggio's going to throw to Bagwell. To end the inning, we head to the 4th. We're tied at 5. Starters both still in here. Bagwell facing Koufax. Base hit. Bagwell now 3 for 3. Murphy strikes out. Koufax seems to be able to get Murphy out. Edmonds, I mean. They picked him off. Well, that's one way to get an out. Koufax has a good inning. Shuts out Real Chicago for the first time in the game. We head to the bottom of the 4th, tied at 5. Valenzuela facing Columbine. Ground ball up the middle. Ozzie Smith's got it. 1 down. Hornsby deep in the left field. Murphy backing up. He's got that. You got to hit it a long way, get it out of Yankee Stadium in left field. Chipper Jones walks. Eddie Murray. Ball 1. Jones doesn't go anywhere. There he goes the second time, and he steals base number 5. Chipper Jones represents the go-ahead run at second. 2 outs. Eddie Murray up. And Valenzuela strikes him out. End the inning. We go to the top of the 5th, tied at 5. Koufax facing Biggio Justice. Biggio's out. Justice stepping in. Last time up, put one on the seats. O'Farrell on deck. Right field. This time Columbine's got to come in to get it. Strikeout for Koufax. 1, 2, 3. Go Real Chicago. We're halfway home. We're tied at 5. Bottom of the 5th. Gordon, Dickey, and Keller to face Valenzuela. Joe Gordon's out on strikes. Dickey's going to hit it to Bagwell's going to boot the ball, but pick it up and take it to the bag himself. 2 down. Charlie Keller on the ground at 3rd. Andy High across the diamond. Long throw. It's in the dirt. He is safe. That's in the dirt, I think. Let me see. Low throw. Keller on second base. Ty Cobb is up. Every time he's been up today with a runner in scoring position, he's knocked him in. And Valenzuela, knowing that, pitches very carefully to him. Legends. How you doing, Legends? Thank you for stopping by. Valenzuela's got 2 runners on here. Bottom of the 5th inning, Cal Ripken Jr. up. Chance to put him ahead. Line drive. Biggio snares it. And the inning is over. We head to the 6th, tied at 5. Ozzie Smith facing Koufax. Promptly signals to right. Top of the order, High, followed by McCovey and Bagwell up. Go ahead run on first. There goes Smith. He's safe. Stolen base number 6. Now the go-ahead runs in scoring position. Andy High, who's 2 for 2 today, puts it on the ground to Jones. It's going to be a tough play. Andy High beats it out. Base hit, runners on first and second. Smith had to return to second as that ball was hit in front of him. Willie McCovey up. 2 runners on, nobody out. Top of the 6th. Sandy Koufax, 137 pitches, uncorked. A wild one, runners advance. Both runners in scoring position. McCovey is going to be intentionally walked to face Bagwell with the bases loaded, nobody out. Here we go. He hits it in the center field. Cobb's going to catch it. That's deep enough for Smith to score. And Real Chicago takes a 1-run lead. Murphy. Koufax has had his number today. Let's see you out now. Ball gets by Dickey. Another wild pitch. Koufax is red at 152 pitches. He's going to do stuff like wild pitches and things like that at 152. He struck out Murphy. Murphy just can't hit Koufax. Edmonds hits it to right field. Cullenbine puts it away to end the inning. We head to the bottom of the 6th. 6-5 Real Chicago. Okay, Valenzuela, 92 pitches. He comes out to start the 6th. He'll be facing Cullenbine, the number 9 hitter, followed by Hornsby and Jones, the top of the order. And just what you want to do, 1 run up, is walk the first batter and then have to face Rogers Hornsby. Ground ball up the middle. Valenzuela snares it, throws to Bagwell for the out. Cullenbine advances in a scoring position. representing the tying run, Chipper Jones. On the ground to Ozzie Smith. He's out. Cullenbine has to hold with the ball in front of him, and Eddie Murray. Base hit in the center field, and just like that, the Union steward ties the game. Valenzuela's now thrown 103 pitches. He will pitch to Joe Gordon, and Gordon will hit it on the ground to Smith. Goes the short way to Biggio to get the third out of the inning. We head to the seventh. It is 6-all. Koufax is red. How long will he pitch? Won't know. If he pitches, he will face Biggio, Justice, and O'Farrell. But Frank Viola comes in. The only thing that Frank Viola has in common with Sandy Koufax is he throws with his left arm. Fly to right. Cullenbine's got it. 1 out. Justice on the ground to Murray. 2 down, and O'Farrell walks. Viola facing Ozzie Smith. Ozzie's never put fear into the opposing pitcher. Let's see what happens now. Ground ball cut off by Jones across the diamond. Smith is out by a step. We head to the bottom of the seventh here at Yankee Stadium. 6 runs, 8 hits, no errors, 7 left on for the Union stewards. Real Chicago, 6 runs, 8 hits. They have committed an error, and they've also left 9 men on base. Fernando coming out to pitch the bottom of the seventh. Bill Dickey pops it up. Smith puts it away for the out. Charlie Keller walks. Ty Cobb 2 for 2 today. Throw down a Bagwell, and he gets back. Cobb strikes out, number 5 for Valenzuela. Cal Ripken Jr. with 2 outs. Hits it to left. Murphy puts it away. We head to the top of the 8th, tied at 6. Viola facing the top of Real Chicago's order. High McCovey. Ground ball to short. 1 away. And Bagwell comes up after McCovey. Hate walking those batters late in the game. Bagwell on the ground to Jones. 2nd for 1. That's all they're going to get. Murphy struck out 3 times today. He's happy Koufax is gone. Bagwell steals 2nd. Number 7. 2 away. Go-ahead run on 2nd. Murphy walks. Jim Edmonds, 0 for 4. Edmonds bangs it in the left field. Base hit. Bagwell scores 7-6. Real Chicago takes the lead as Frank Viola coughs it up. Biggio up. To left field. It's deep. Keller is going to watch it go off the wall. 1 run scores. 2 runs will score. Biggio ends up on second base with a double. It is 9-6 and Real Chicago breaks it open here in the 8th. David Justice 1 for 4. It's a home run today. Viola stays in there, walks him. O'Farrell up 0 for 1. Number 1 strikeout for Viola. Valenzuela takes the mound. Now he's got a 3-run lead, 9-6 here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Will he stay in here, or will a relief pitcher come in, try to hold this lead? Let's start out with Cullenbine batting 9th. Then we got Hornsby and Jones, top of the order. And David's got his set to bring in the relief pitcher. And what happened? I thought a relief pitcher was coming in, and I checked yes. Nothing happened. Hornsby walks. That was weird. Valenzuela allows 2 hits, runners on first and second. Murray lines out to Edmonds. Great play. Two outs. Joe Gordon up. Gordon in the right center field. Justice puts it away. The inning is over. No run score. I have no idea what happened. It looked like it wanted a relief pitcher in. I clicked yes, and nothing happened. Usually, if that happens, the next time the next batter comes up, a relief pitcher, it pops up again. That didn't happen either. Very weird. We go to the 9th, 9-6. Real Chicago leads. Ozzie Smith up against Viola, who coughed up the lead and now walks the leadoff batter in the 9th. High lines to Jones. McCovey, second strikeout for Viola. Bagwell up doubled his last time, knocked in a couple of insurance runs. And he strikes out Viola. Pitches a good 9th. We got Valenzuela out here in the 9th inning. He's red at 137 pitches. New left fielder was inserted. Let's find out what's going on here. There must have been an injury. Nope. Smith moved to left field in the 8th. That looks like it was a... You know what that was? That might not have been a pitcher. I might not have read it properly. That might have been Real Chicago putting in a left-hander. I mean, the left fielder for defense, not the pitcher. I just assumed it was the pitcher. There you go. I guess I should read what pops up in front of me. I bet they replace Valenzuela now because he's red. Let's see. No, they're going to let him pitch. Maybe because Dickey was a lefty and Keller's a lefty. Keller on the ground of Bagwell. 2 quick outs here in the bottom of the 9th. Cobb's also a lefty. But he hit a home run. There you go. Ty Cobb had quite a game. Unfortunately, Union Stewart's still 2 runs back. Will they replace Valenzuela now? Allow Greg McMichael to pitch. Now I'm going to read it instead of just assume it was a pitcher. Ripken facing McMichael. Base hit to right field. And guess what? Cullenbine comes to bat, representing the tying run in the bottom of the 9th. And he singles to left center field. We got 2 runners on. The tying run is on first. Rogers Hornsby represents the winning run. We're in the bottom of the ninth, 2 away. McMichael is about to deliver to Rogers Hornsby, and he's going to strike him out to win the game. We can't have more exciting finish than that. Real Chicago, 9 runs, 10 hits, an error, left 12 men on base. Union Stewart, 7-12, and no errors. They left 12 men on base. Let's go to the box score. Quite a game. It was not a pitcher's duel, but it was still an exciting game. Andy High went 3 for 5. Bagwell 3 for 5. Hitting stars. Bagwell also had 3 runs batted in, including that big time double off the wall. Hornsby 1 for 5. He could have hit a home run and won the game in the ninth, but he didn't do that. Jones 2 for 4. And 3 for 4, Ty Cobb. He seemed to get a hit every time they needed one. Winning pitcher, Fernando Valenzuela, now 8-8. He pitched 8 2/3 innings, allowed 10 hits, 7 runs. Not one of his better games, but he won. 6 strikeouts, 6 walks. The losing pitch, oh, by the way, McMichael got save number 5. Koufax, 6 innings, 8 hits, 6 runs. All of them earned, struck out, and walked 7. Frank Viola took the loss. He's 1-3, pitched 3 innings, allowed 2 hits, 3 runs, struck out 3, walked 5. Okay. Let's get back to the schedule and the month of July. I'll zip it up. And we're off to the races. Chicago looking for a win at home, trying to keep it close. They get it 2-1. They're in third place, 8 games back. Vegas at Lehigh. Lehigh, 11-4 winners. Gary at San Francisco, 7-4 Gary. Manchester is tied with Washington. They'll either be in first or in second place after this game. They're in first place. They shut out Crystal Lake 3-0. Lancaster needing a win. They get it 8-6. And Carolina needing a win. They get it 9-3. On to the 30th. There's no games on the 31st. So last game of the month for everybody. Washington at St. Louis, 8-4 St. Louis. Needed that victory, first game of a doubleheader. Gary at San Francisco, 9-3 San Francisco. Manchester, a game up. However, Crystal Lake beats them 7-2. Lancaster looking for a win. They get it. Real Chicago, 6.5 over Union Stewards. Another important game. 2-0 Real Chicago wins. Clemens over Boddicker. Chicago trying to keep pace. They do 5-4. Vegas at Lehigh. Vegas finally beats Lehigh in the third game of their 3-game set, 2-1. Beantown at Carolina. Carolina 5-3 winners. Washington at St. Louis. Game number 2. 5-4 Washington. Gary at San Francisco, 3-2 Gary. Manchester looking for win in the doubleheader, 2-1 Crystal Lake. Manchester loses a doubleheader and lose their first place standings at the end of February, while Lancaster ends the month by defeating Edmonton. Let's take a moment, go over the standings, and we'll go over the league leaders and stuff. I'll zip it up. We'll call it a night. I'll post the file and we'll be ready. I don't want team statistics. We'll be ready to start the month of August. Here we go. Washington, believe it or not, started the month in first place and ends the month in first place, a half a game ahead of Manchester. Lehigh, 3.5 games out, and St. Louis, 5.5 games out. And if you look at that loss column, Washington and Lehigh, 40 losses, Manchester with only 39. There's a discrepancy in the number of games they played. That is going to be a tight race. I believe Crystal Lake, Vegas, San Francisco, and Gary are probably out of it. No more tears. Real, Chicago could have been worse. They were 10 games up when the month started. They're now 7.5 up on Union Stewards. The problem here is Union Stewards has a very scary roster, and they're in second place. Chicago had a good month. They're 8 games out, and they're in the third and final playoff spot with Lancaster, Carolina, and I think Lancaster and Carolina are probably the only ones fighting. Beantown seems a little far out, but they could have a winning streak and make a comeback. Interesting thing about that schedule is Real, Chicago has a 10-game lead in the loss column over 4 teams, Union Stewart, Chicago, Lancaster, and Carolina, all with 46 losses. Joe Jackson still leads the league in hitting, 356. Home runs, Babe Ruth. RBIs, Babe Ruth. Kershaw still leads in the ERA race. He led earlier in the month. Hendricks, the winner in wins, leader in wins with 19. Hubble, 18. And Johnson, 17. Saves, Raleigh Fingers with 16. Vance, the strikeout leader with a good margin, 277. Chicago's got all the strikeouts here. Leading in the Manager of the Year race, David Landau. Claude Hendricks leading in the Cy Young voting, and Lou Gehrig leading in the MVP voting. I'd like to thank everybody for coming by in today's broadcast to finish the month of July. Dwayne Mark, who let me know that the new left fielder was inserted. I saw that instead of the pitcher. Legends came by. Always great to see Legends. And if you're listening to this broadcast and not familiar with Legends' work, check it out on Legends Sports Universe. It is great stuff. Steve Tate stopped by. David Landau came by to watch his game. MV was here slashed. And Mark from Beantown was the first one in the ballpark this evening. Anyway, thanks a lot for everybody coming by. We will see you on Discord. Catch you a little later this evening.